class, this is Mike Nolan, and this is my multimedia presentation for the History and Theory of Public Administration, and I have titled my presentation Classic Theories and Those of the 1960s and 70s. So in this presentation, there's going to be some review of some key theorists and concepts we've learned early on. The review is going to be on the principles of scientific management as written by Frederick Winslow Taylor. We're also going to be reviewing some of the documents of the Constitution, and we're going to be reviewing Max Weber's bureaucracy. In addition to reviewing some of the classic theories, I'm also going to be introducing some new theories, such as Daniel Katz and Robert Kahn's system concept theory, Morton Grodzin's American system as a single mechanism, as represented there in that marble cake, and lastly, Anthony Downs' rethinking of bureaucracy. And after we review the new concepts and mix them with the old ones, I'm going to give you my viewpoint on how they all work together. We know from studying Taylor's scientific management that the purpose of his scientific management was to study a job and break it down into intricate parts and pieces and figure out the one best way to accomplish that job or task. Katz and Kahn's system concept theory differed from Taylor's scientific management in the one best way by rejecting the concept that there was one best way to achieve the goal. They looked beyond Taylor's concept of just looking at the individual methods of the organization. Katz and Kahn sought to see how organizations work. And in this desire for a deeper understanding, they came to the conclusion that there was multiple alternatives to seeking these goals of the organization, unlike Taylor, where he thought there was the one best way. And the two images that I've chosen here is the best way, obviously, for Taylor, and then Carnegie's Deli. If any of you don't know, that is the best way to make a sandwich. However, in my argument, the reason I chose the picture of this deli is because under Katz and Kahn's system concepts theory, they accept that there's more than one best way to achieve the same goal. Take, for example, two competing deli shops. One deli shop may pursue the goal of profit by making the healthiest sandwich for their discerning palate of their health-conscious customer, while sandwich shop B may also have the same goal of pursuing a profit. However, their efforts to reach the goal is going to be by making the fastest sandwich possible and in order to get the sandwich out to the lunch crowd and produce greater profits. Both methods are driven to produce profit or to obtain the end goal, which is profit. However, under the systems concept theory, they allow for this differing of a goal, and they don't accept that there's just one best way. Now, in the case of the American system of government, Morton Grodzin sought to provide clarity to the system of government by viewing this American system of government as a machine capable of outputting a multiple range of products and services. Now, this concept of viewing the government as a machine capable of producing a multiple range of products and services sought to provide some clarity to all the complexities and the responsibilities of a government organization. Additionally, Grodzin argued that a citizenry that could better understand its government and the way it operated would be more capable of making decisions as they relate to governing issues. Now, the concept you see here, like Grodzin's marble cake government or the layer cake government, or dual federalism, all sprung from the United States Constitution. And specifically, Article 1, Section 10 and the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution inform citizens of what authority belongs to the federal government and what authority belongs to the states. This is known as the Reserved Power Clause. Now, this recognition of the separation of powers is often described as a layer cake, which illustrates the obvious separations in the systems of government, as you can see here with the cake, separating the federal, state, and local government into very smooth lines that don't interact with one another. Now, Grodzin's argument is that our system of government is not of a layer cake, but that more of a marble cake. And this marble cake paints a much more clear image of cooperative federalism with our government operations than previous definitions. A good example of Grodzin's cooperative federalism or marble cake government would be in the education system. The federal government provides funding to schools while allowing the school boards to choose their own curriculum and specific standards for teachers. Now, we know from Max Weber that his call for bureaucracy came after witnessing large organizations bringing large groups of people together. In Weber's bureaucracy, it's defined by fixed separation of labor, hierarchical organization, all-encompassing use of rules, clear divisions between professional life and personal life, through the impersonality of procedure, selection of personnel on the basis of qualification, which put an end to the spoils system, and lastly, he wanted members of the organization to see their standing in the organization as a career. Well, Anthony Downs, in Rethinking Bureaucracy, referred to Weber's theories as logical and secondary. He had some additional viewpoints that he wanted to expand on with Max Weber's bureaucracy. His expansion of Weber's theory of a bureaucracy, Anthony Downs argues that an organization is only a bureaucracy if it contained his four characteristics. Downs argued that the organization must be large. Also, the employees of the organization must derive the majority of their income from the employment within that organization. Additionally, that the hiring and firing and promotion is based on assessment and not election or characteristics. And lastly, Downs argued that his organization must produce an output that is immeasurable by any external markets. In contrast to Weber's theory of a bureaucracy, Downs specifically argues the development of impersonality to procedure. Downs refutes Weber's claim and argues that leaders value personal loyalty, which cannot be obtained in a system of impersonality. As we often know, corporations and organizations rely heavily on their staff's loyalty, especially as it relates to material that could jeopardize the success of the organization or potential leaks that could compromise the organization as a whole. So here are my final thoughts. I think Katz and Kahn's system of concept theory is an improvement and advancement beyond Taylor's scientific theory. As for Morton Grodzon's American system as a single mechanism, I believe that it helps articulate a breakdown or intermingling of our government, I should say. But as we know, there's still more work to be done there. And lastly, as it relates to Anthony Downs' rethinking of bureaucracy, I think it's an improvement and a deeper look into a bureaucracy as described by Weber. So here are my references. As you can see, a majority of the references came straight out of our Classics of Public Administration book. And I'd like to thank everyone for watching my presentation, and I look forward to watching everyone's presentation.